All right, welcome to Wickerson Studios. I'm online again. I've got some really cool stuff to show you. I am not going to try and compete with the incredible tutorials that are happening online, be it tied to learning Grasshopper for Rhino with Python nodes. I'm just going to show you what I'm excited about, and hopefully you take interest in that. I've been teaching more than 20 years. I'm there to inspire students. I think there's a gap between the visual artist and the programmer, and there's a space for the visual artist developer to be. And I think there's also a receiving end uh, rift or discord or whatever you want to call it between the engineer and programmer wanting to see things, have other people data visualized for them and how they are working on the problems they're working on. So I think there's this widening gap between artist as developer and artist as collaborator with developers. That said, I'm going to pull and push from, I would have to assume this is Mode Labs, an older video, which was pretty awesome. I'm going to scoot around in this video to show you that it's a surface that's brought in through points. I have it deactivated right now for those that are familiar with Grasshopper. I'm just going to leave it off. Maybe I'll enable it, but I'm going to leave the preview. It's taking a while to run. Basically, I pulled these two images out of here in it, and I'm going to take the preview off just so I can run through the script to show you an outcome of the script. The outcome's pretty amazing, and it's a height map study that you could use, the height map tool in Rhino, but it's better to gain some control of that and start to figure it out. What I'm doing it for is I basically want to build a dungeon dragon game that I think would be awesome to navigate as I try and figure this out, how to position it. I like these Rocky Mountains of Max's hair. For them to start gaming and playing and possibly doing some 3D prints and making some structures from this, I think that's exciting. But it's generated from a script that comes out of Mode Labs, and I'll make a link directly to the basic Grasshopper leading into intermediate uh, tree and data tree information. But as you look at this form, this is the one generated. I generated one earlier and just moved it over here as a second panel. It takes a while just to select it, but obviously this is the panel I'm looking at. And I'll show you the script basically. It goes in, you're producing a surface that you have to do ahead of time. You don't have to, it's a basic surface, but I did have to do some point edits. So when I brought in a surface in Rhino down here, I would have then had to do a rebuild and then do some soft surface editing or just grab control points and move them. Hopefully that's familiar to Rhino users. I'm not one to say you had to learn Rhino before Grasshopper. I think you could learn them at the same time. My feeling was that Grasshopper is a subset of Rhino, so why not learn that and see how it applies, and you can work parametrically, and you'll never go back to modeling single things again. You'll want to record your history and have a copy of that or an algorithm that feeds that through repetitive modes and building your own clusters and working in snippets and things like that, or putting your files on GitHub for everybody to use. Anyway, number slider, we're definitely dividing that surface up. We're going to take that, and I love this gate system that I used on Mode Labs. And even though I've titled these gates points XYZ, normals, vectors, and points UVW, I prefer to use the bifocals tool to import. It's the only plugin that I'm really using in these demos, and they're not really demos. I've got a Boolean toggle on here that goes back and forth from choosing the lines. It was just using a flip matrix example of how to get using that, but then they ended up applying it, which I thought was awesome, to interpolate those lines and put it through an image sampler. I never thought, obviously that's what height map studies are doing, but I was never using an image sampler to do this. I was using the geometries. A little bit of multiplication and addition, and boom, some lofting, and next thing you know, you've got these forms to bake. It's a short video tutorial. It's my excitement around this. What I love about the Mode Labs tutorials is they will start as dead basic as you can imagine. And just like writing an essay, you write another draft, you don't overwrite the other one. You write another draft, you write another draft, you learn more and more things as you go. And what this culminates into is really the pinnacle of what I understand and what I'm coming to understand in Grasshopper, which is take that script. I've taken the surface out, so there's nothing being referenced here. But what's happening is I'm actually looking farther and farther into the data trees, and if I input this, you'd see it. But I'm starting to understand what's the use of using a path mapper. Go into the intermediate data trees, look at the examples. There's no way I'm going to come close to teaching it. Pruning tree and lofting tree to clean things up. I am gaining incredible control between going in and starting to play with the formulas when it's associated with the indices and the item numbers. and it goes well beyond the tools they give you in the sets into what you were basically maybe using in the nodes of flattening tree and grafting tree, simplifying tree. You're actually getting into the path mapper. Certainly the flip matrix tool. Sorry, my head's in the way. I know it's gorgeous. Shifting paths and splitting trees. When you start getting into these tools, I think you've figured it out. I have been told from the beginning, memorize the sets, learn everything you can about the maths, the sets, and the vectors also. I've been through some incredible examples in that 2012 series, 2015 series of Mode Labs. Please take the time to do it. I'll make a link, and it'll even get you into the field studies. But some of this stuff, to build your own files and have them as quick reference to then apply them, it's a whole library for you, whether you put it to your shelf items up here or put them on utilities. I actually am starting, I think, maybe in the maths, maybe in display. Yeah, you can see here I'm starting to build my own clusters from those tutorials. So I click in here and boom, it's a wonderful little shading map. And I've learned how to put security on them so nobody can see them. But believe me, what I'm doing is so basic, I'm not really worried about anybody stealing what I'm up to. I'm gonna take that one off because I wanted to mess with when I open the script. I would go through each section, and even though they're 2-hour tutorials, build them in the one file. This one's called Mode Labs Intermediate. I did the basic. I can't wait to get into the data trees. But when you actually start analyzing your stuff, and even though I've taken the information off here and you're producing incredible data trees like this, you're going to find the control over shifting paths and path mappers to gain access to all these items and numbers. I can't believe that I'm actually thinking geometrically and mathematically, engineer architecturally with this in mind. So please, anybody interested out there, check out the link that I've made. If I jumped over to it, it would just take me a moment to find. I've got it over on another screen. Let me pull it back in here. Jumping into here, I'm going to go to Facebook, and I encourage you to jump online and be interested in what I'm doing because it's a huge posting service of what I do. I put on the latest things I'm working on. Obviously, I want to get into V-Ray and rendering now. There's the examples that are new on clusters with Mode Lab, and that's the one I want to show. There's still some AR Spark things that are happening, and I think the link was here. I could be right, it could be wrong. Probably best to just jump into this one. Yeah, and that will take us to the Mode Labs, and I would say get on there, go into the videos, go into the playlist, and let me just, always in the way it seems, jump into this basic, intermediate, and advanced. I'm so excited about this and where I'm at holding to this right now, and I'm well into the relative items that are coming after the path mappers. Great introductory tutorials. I wish Mode Labs was still in business. I'm sure the people that ran it are well on their way doing other things. Okay, that's 8 minutes. Thanks for watching. If you're excited about it, I know I am because, sorry, close tabs. I know for sure, let me slide this back over to this side. Oh, that's my Grasshopper. I guess I don't have to do that. I'm so excited about it because, you know, my kids are young. They're going to be playing. Oh, nobody needed to see that information. That is not what's needed. Sorry about that. Well, you learned a little bit about the current students at school. Pretty incredible in a sense of making this. I've had it moved in both directions, but I really am thinking of these early gaming sites my kids have been doing using these geometries and having fun. What is the potential for this? And certainly it gets my kids interested in what they're actually making and scripting on their own right. Thanks again for watching.